And a very good morning to you. Welcome to this morning's United Kingdom Talk here on United Kingdom Radio. Now, I did put a little note on the Facebook saying that the audio stream was not working. I think that's on again now. It's literally just come back on to say we had a moment of blankness, which, to be quite honest, if you listen to any of the other presenters here on United Kingdom Radio, happens quite often. Every one of them are completely blank. Ross Patel, I was just listening to Ross Patel's latest show. He's here on United Kingdom Radio tonight at 8 o'clock UK time. It was going on about what's in them. I quite like the jingle, actually, because it's so bad. Ross Patel's jingles are so bad that they're actually funny. And it was, what's in the microwave bag? What's in the I mean, who wants to ring up a show and guess what's in someone's bag? Will someone please tell me the attraction of that? Eh? Because I really don't know. Young Sean's trying to... Sean, I have to tell you, we have a new presenter here on United Kingdom Radio. Young Sean, who says he wants me to make him an opening. Now, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Oh, I see what you mean. You mean something like this. Just a minute now. I know. Oh, I haven't got anything. Something like this. Something like that.
Live from the Mirrorball studio in Royal Berkshire. This is Chris Reardon.
Something like that. Incidentally, little note to Lee Mills. Berkshire is spelt... You're not very good at spelling, are you, Lee? B-E-R-K. Berkshire, not B-A-R-K. Have you got a spell checker on your thing? You're always doing spelling errors, but he does his best. I know Lee does his best. Yes, the newest presenter here on United Kingdom Radio starts on Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock UK time. His name is Sean, 15-year-old lad from Ipswich, and this is what he sounds like.
Hello, join me, Sean Richards, on United Kingdom Radio. I'll have some weird and wonderful chit-chat, jokes, funny facts, phone calls and Skype calls, and, if you're all good, a competition. No prizes, it's just for fun. So come and join me on United Kingdom Radio every Saturday between 5pm and 6pm. See you soon.
Oh! Did you feel that kiss coming towards you? That was a bit of a sucking kiss, wasn't it? It wasn't just it was oh dear. If I was kissing you, you would have sucked the air out of me. I'll tell you that now. So there we are, brand new presenter for you on Sunday afternoons at 5 o'clock. Sean Ritchie. We have quite a busy Saturdays now. We've got 3 shows on Saturday. There's me between 3 and 4. There's Tom Harris between 4 and 5. I think Suko's doing his show this week. I'm sure he's still on holiday. And there's a brand new host, Sean, between 5 and 6 on Saturday night. Now, don't be nice to him, okay? Especially Gary Burton, if you're with us this morning. Don't start winding, but give him a chance to settle in the chair, for God's sake, before you start on the poor lad. Okay? Oh, am I sounding a bit quiet today? Is that better? Sorry, am I sounding a bit quiet? Is that better for you? Sorry, I think that must be sounding a little bit quiet this morning. There we are. Good morning, Wayne, who says the audio stream is it on? It should be on now. We should be on now, okay? Having a little bit of a problem there. All right then, what's in the microwave bag? Do we want a competition? We'd love to give away prizes, but there are no prizes, I'm afraid. No prizes. We don't make any money. There are no prizes. It costs me to pay for the blooming station as well. So there we are. Now let's have a look at what we're going to today. I've just got a message from Shoutcast, the people that provide our audio, who says, this message to inform you that your streamer server went down in the past few minutes, but has now been restarted successfully by our internal service monitor. Oh, thank you very much. You see, it's all very, very good. If you ever want any hosting done, then I highly recommend Simplex. Simplex, okay? Did I say Sean is on Sunday? No, it's Saturday. Saturday at 5 o'clock UK time. Well, what have I got to tell you about today? First of all, we had Gwen's You remember Gwen, the lovely lady that died about 3 or 4 weeks ago now. We had a little get-together for her. I say a little, it was quite a large one. A little get-together for her on Tuesday at the Black Cap in Camden Town. And the entire night went very well. At the end of this venue is some photographs from winners from a competition that has been run over the last few years called Drag Idol. Also in this particular venue are pictures of many, many famous drag queens that have appeared at the Black Cap, and indeed most of whom I have worked with over the years. And as a special thing for Gwen, she didn't win Drag Idol. I know she's obviously not a drag person, she's a real lady. But she was very special, and the pub decided that it would be okay to put a picture of her up there. And it was rather marvellous. So they've put this picture on the wall, and I sort of unveiled it and did a little bit of chat on the microphone. And the whole night was a karaoke night, and her daughter, Gillian, came down as well. And she was dressed beautifully, absolutely beautifully she was dressed in like this blue sequin. It wasn't actually sequins, just like little bit. What are those? I don't know what they like. Lots of little round bits of metal hanging down and pushed together to make a dress. I don't know what they're called. She was dressed very, very bright, and she's lovely, Gillian, and all her family came down and everything, and a good night was had by all. I mean, it was really nice. So, and that's it really. That was Gwen's do, and we also raised money for the for the not Mild Maid, for the the Marie Curie nurses. We sent round a bucket, and the door charge, because there's a door charge there on Tuesdays, some of that also went, I think £1 per person went to the Marie Curie nurses. I think they raised sort of between £100 and £200. May not sound a lot, but it's better than a kick in the teeth, isn't it? So there we are. And that was Tuesday. Wonderful, wonderful time. All right. Yesterday, can you believe this? Yesterday, there I am cycling to the swimming pool, and I was going at full pelt. You know when you're cycling along, it was slightly going downhill. We were in Warp Drive, boys and girls. I was in Warp Drive going down to the swimming pool, and I went past two girls and 2 little boys, I suppose about 13 or 14 years old. And as I went past them, I got a very loud "Excuse me, mate," from one of the little boys. So I screeched on my brakes. They went like that. It was like an impression of a mouse then, wasn't it, really? Rather than brakes squeaking. Nevertheless, I slammed on my brakes. Turned around. "Yes, mate." "Have you got a fag, mate?" I said, "No, I haven't got a fag. I don't smoke." And he just walked off. I mean, the cheek of it. Stopping a stranger in the street and asking for a cigarette. And then when I said no, he just walked off. Didn't even say, "Oh, thanks anyway." Just walked off. The cheek of these people. I mean, I've got to be honest, when I was that age, I wouldn't dream of asking a stranger in the street for a cigarette. They do it in the pubs. I've seen people go up to other people in pubs and say, do you want to buy me a drink? I mean, the cheek of it is unbelievable. What's all that about? What are you being taught at school? Please tell me. Would you go up to someone in the street and ask for a cigarette or whatever? These are not beggars. These are not people with nothing, or more so the case in London, people pretending to have nothing. There's plenty of those about. You can't really tell the difference because they're very good at it. Would you go up to someone in a street and ask for a cigarette? It's unbelievable. Now, if you've never called the show before, might be quite nice to hear from you this morning. To contact the show, you simply, and if you're listening to the live show, if I tell you now it's Thursday morning, it's 10 past 11 in the morning, and it's the 12th of August, okay? 12th of August, Thursday morning, 10 past 11 in the morning. Look at your clock. If that's the time now, wherever you are in the world, you are with us live. If it's any other time, you're listening or watching a recording, but you can still join in, okay? The email address to join in the show at any time is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. All right? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, if you're watching or listening to the show live, Thursday, 12th of August, 11 minutes past 11, then you can do so by Skype or telephone. Our Skype-in number, all one word, Skype username is United Kingdom Radio. All one word. Skype username, United Kingdom Radio. Or you can do it by telephone. Our phone number is a local London number, 020 3287 1488. Okay? 020 3287 1488. Lee says, before you played this jingle, your mic was off. Was it? Was my mouth moving and nothing was coming out of it? Perhaps some people would prefer me like that, would they? Would you go up to someone in the street, though, and say, excuse me, mate, you got a spare fag? Dreadful. Dreadful. By the way, fag, for the Americans, that means cigarettes. I know it means something else there. Now, Vicky was asking me for an update of the garden, because I haven't been speaking about the garden very much recently. I have to tell you, Vicky, I have the most massive tomatoes growing that you have ever seen. None of them are red yet. This year, what I did way back in February, March, I think it was, is I did grow some tomatoes by seeds, but I went down to the garden centre because tomato plants are very, very cheap if you buy them early on. And you know, the hardest part about growing most plants is the actual germinating of them. You know, getting the seed to germinate. That's the hardest part of it. So sometimes I go and buy little plants, and, you know, so size. The bigger the plant, the more expensive. So the secret is to go down to the garden centre very early on, and you'll pick up tomato plants for like 60 pence each. Something silly like that. So, I mean, 10 plants, which will give you copious amounts of tomatoes, is going to cost you only about £6. Or, if you want to be really clever, you go down at the beginning of whenever they first come out. You buy a couple then you buy a couple of weeks later, and then a couple of weeks later, and then you extend the period to which you actually can get tomatoes, rather than having them all come at the same time. Do you see what I mean? You keep them coming. Anyway, I have to tell you, at this present moment in time, I have the biggest tomatoes I have ever grown, and I've been growing them since I was 14 years old. We used to have a flat in Roehampton, that's in Southwest 15 in London, and only balconies outside. Okay, just a balcony. And this balcony, from one end to the other, was tomato plants. My mum used to love me. And the funny thing is, at that time, I didn't even eat tomatoes. I hated them. I just grew them. I used to grow these tomatoes, and Mum used to eat them all. There were loads of them. And they were all sort of, you know, reasonable size. But this year, the other thing I did this year was I bought lots of different varieties, rather than just stick with one type of tomato. And I've got yellow tomatoes growing, yes, believe it or not. And I have black, there are such things. Type it into Google and have a look. I have black tomatoes. Yes, there are black tomatoes. They're a slightly different shape. Rather than being round, they're kind of like an oblong shape. They're kind of like more like a pear drop. And I also bought those beef tomatoes, and at the moment they are massive. The actual stick, because they've all got to be held up with sticks, you know, you've got the plant growing upwards and the stick next to it. And the plants are pulling the sticks, right? The fruits on these, some of the tomatoes are so heavy now that the stick is actually bending over. And I'm not quite sure what to do. You see, because they're not going red. Some of them have now gone, all the varieties, are now kind of, when they first come out, they're bright green. The green is slowly, on some of them, you can see it suddenly going a bit darker, which means it's starting to go orange. But none of them are red yet. And with the size of some of them, I'm not quite sure whether to leave them on the plant until they go red, or is this going to eventually pull the plant over and break the stick? In which case, if the stick breaks and the plant goes over, the plant itself will probably break, and then that will be they won't grow anymore. Do I pick off these tomatoes? Do I pick them off and put them on the windowsill, or do you think I should leave them on? Because I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure what to do. I'm really not. Richard in London. Good morning, Richard. That's a lovely photo. Richard has appeared on my Skype, and a very lovely photo. My God, that's old, isn't it, that photo? You only look about 18 there. No. 25. I wish I'd known you then, because I would have asked you out, not now. You look far too old now. You do look... That is an old picture on your Skype, isn't it? Richard said, thank God you're not growing plums. It would be chilling to hear how big your plums are. We don't do plums. I've got an apple tree as well in the garden, but that's all over the place. I've never been very good at pruning things and knowing how they should look. It doesn't even look like a tree. However, there's about 15, 20 apples on this. And I'll tell you what, Richard, when my apple tree some of the apples are actually looking now like proper small apples, and I think you could probably break one off and eat one now. I'll tell you what, Richard, I will bring you a selection of my produce to test out, okay, when it's all grown. All right? I don't know whether to pick these tomatoes off now because they're so big, or leave them on. Does anyone know what I should do? If so, please let me know. The email address of the show is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. All right, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Richard said the picture of him on Skype is only 4 years old. Oh, come off it, will you? 4 years old? I mean, you've got a thin face here, which is all a bit worrying, really. You've got a thin face and hair. That's more than 4 years old, isn't it? God's sake. What should I do with these tomatoes? Do I pick them off, or shall I just leave them and hope for the best? Wait till they turn red. I feel I want to leave them on there. Do let us know, okay? Either on the email, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, or indeed on Skype. Skype username United Kingdom Radio, or phone number 020 3287 1488. Okay? Now, let's have a quick look here. Sean said, would you like a bowl of marshmallows, a massive bar of chocolate, and a glass of Coke? That's my breakfast. Sean, you're not doing yourself any favours. 15 years old, bowl of marshmallows, massive bar of chocolate, and glass of Coke. That is possibly the worst breakfast I have ever heard in my life. Throw it away. Have a banana. And bran flakes. I've just had breakfast. I had bran flakes and blueberries with a slosh of milk. And a large cup of tea. I can't believe you. How can you drink Coca-Cola first thing in the morning? All that sugar. God almighty. Mind you, I mean, I've seen pictures of Sean, who is our newest presenter, 15-year-old lad, who will be here on Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock UK time. And he's not fat at all. Unlike me, who barely eats chocolate, never, very, very rare. The only time I really eat cakes is on birthdays. Yep. The occasional bag of crisps, and I can't keep it off, Sean. I can't keep the weight off. Yesterday, shock horror, I found I was 13 stone, 7 pounds. I'm not happy with that at all. So I cut back on my problem is portion sizes. I do like a big one. I really do. If you ever see me cook my own dinners, they are massive. I mean, they really are. But, I mean, saying that, you know, it's only one a day. I only have a large dinner at sort of, you know, around about 2 to 2, sometimes between 2 and 4 in the afternoon. And that is usually quite large. It is. We don't like small ones. I mean, we really don't. It's got to be big or it's just not worth having, is it, boys and girls? Come on, ladies. You've all seen those small ones, and I'm sorry. They don't do anything for me at all. Got to have a large one. You absolutely have to have a large one. Sean says there's a moth on the mirror ball. I hope not. Oh, God, there isn't. Is there really? Hang on, let me wait for it. There's a mirror ball turning around behind me. Sean reckons he's seen a moth. I hope not. I did see one this morning, actually. It was crawling up the wall. I've got a little bit of... I don't think I've got an infestation. There's no infestations in my house. But I keep finding moths. And they're always in my bedroom. Never anywhere else in the house. And they're in my bedroom. Someone said the other day, it's because it's the only place I open my wallet. Which is a lie. It's an absolute lie. I never open my wallet. End of story. We don't take money out of the bank. It's dangerous to do that. Please don't take any money out of the bank. There's no moth on the mirror ball. You must be seeing things, Sean. Pay attention, dear. Pay attention. Richard in London reckons I should pick off the tomatoes and bring back the old good British tradition of throwing them at rubbish acts. Well, I think you'll be the first one, to be honest. You... No, I mean that in a nice way. But let's face it, there'd be a lot to choose from, wouldn't there? No, I'm not going to mention names. I wouldn't dare mention names. By the way, Richard, I don't know if you was in with us at the beginning of the show. Richard, I have to tell you, was the man responsible, really, for arranging most of Tuesday's tribute to Gwen that we were talking about earlier. Okay, he's got his own website. Give us the URL to your website. Richard is a drag queen known as Titty LeCamp. One of the funniest drag queens you ever know. And I was actually there when she won a competition to get where she is today, which was, at the time, the amateur talent show. I actually prefer, I don't know if you know this, Richard, I actually prefer the old amateur talent shows to Drag Idol. I thought, personally, they were a lot more fun. I would love to see that happen again. An amateur talent show. I really would, and I would like to be involved with it as well. So if you ever want to push that idea, because I know they listen to you, dear, push that idea, then there's a thing, you see. Amateur talent show and DJ. There's an idea for you, okay? Amateur talent show. I do much prefer that to Drag Idol. I've not been too keen on the whole Drag Idol thing. I prefer the amateur talent shows. Sean's on the line. Good morning, Sean.
Hello.
How are you today? All right.
I've got an idea.
You what?
I've got an idea.
You got an idea? What's that? There's no moth on the mirror ball. Why lie?
Because it was funny just to see
we
you
don't
looking
like
at it.
we don't like filthy liars on this programme.
But
Get on with it
not,
then. We await your modulation. Get on with it.
Why not get one of them electric fly squatters and then fry them?
Well, I'm sorry, if you don't mind me saying so, I am a member of the Royal Society for Protection to Cruelty to Insects. And that would be cruel to insects. You don't think I get a slipper and whack these moths on the head and squash them, do you? No, I don't. I get a glass from the bathroom and carefully remove them to outside my property, where they fly off into the night, free as a bird. They're born free as the wind blows. The insects will not be hurt. How cruel you are.
Billy witches.
The Lord Jesus Christ will punish you for that, you know.
Apart from Billy witches.
Apart from what?
Billy witches.
What are Billy witches?
Them things that, like helicopter things, they just sit and go brrr.
Are they Daddy Longlegses?
No.
When I was at school,
Google.
when I was at primary school, we had a song about Daddy Longlegs. Would you like to hear it? I made it up myself. I could be a songwriter. Maybe I'm the next Robbie Williams. Here it comes. Daddy Longlegs, Daddy Longlegs. Ah, Daddy Longlegs. Do you like that, Sean?
No.
There was only one verse, no chorus. Talking of verses and choruses, we've got one of my favourite... You know, I play the organ at church.
Can't hear you.
Eh? What'd you say? Have you gone? Have you gone? Well, it's you, it's not me. What's he playing out there? Oh, dear. Anyway, where was I now? Oh, yes, at church this coming Sunday, because I do play the organ at church, one of my favourite hymns of all time. Where is it now? I've just had the hymns coming through on the fax machine. I'll sing a hymn to Mary. Oh, who writes these words to these hymns? They're very marvellous, you know. Here it comes. It says, I'll sing... Listen to the words. They're so beautiful. I'll sing a hymn to Mary. I have got the hymn book here. You think I make it all up, don't you? I wouldn't lie to you. Come on, look at my face carefully. Not at the lines. Look at the face. Not the eyes, the face. Eh? I don't make it up. Haven't I got a face you could trust? Don't you feel that you could send me a couple of £1,000 in the post, right? You could send me a couple of. You could send me a couple of £1,000 in the post, and it would be safe. You wouldn't have to worry about it being stolen or anything like that. Well, there you go. Trust me when I say something. Believe me. We believe it. Anyway, here are the words. Beautiful. Who writes the words to these hymns? I'll sing a hymn to Mary, the mother of my God, the virgin of all virgins. So her and I have something in common there. Of David's royal blood. Oh, teach me, Holy Mary, a loving song to frame. Oh, may I imitate thee and magnify God's name. We love it. I love it. One of my favourite hymns of all time. And we're doing it on Sunday at church. I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. Now, Titty the Camp, her website, if you want to have a look at what she does, she is a drag queen.
Hello, and welcome to 1000 Mics.
What the hell was that?
To begin your transmission, please press the star key.
Oh dear, so it's all going a bit wrong today, I think. Let me see what's going on there. Yes, I'm having a few problems this morning. Never mind, I'm sure you're still with us. Stick on the Ustream, okay? Stick on the Ustream. Now, we've got a email here from Robert in Iceland. Hello, Robert. How are you? He says, Dear Chris and friends of United Kingdom Talk, we have just returned from spending a few days in Paris and Disneyland Paris. I have to say, I was surprised by the quality of Disneyland Paris and was expecting a poor imitation of Disney World in Orlando. I know where. Are you back now? Are you? We are having a little bit of a problem today with the live transmission. I know that. Of course, if you're watching the recorded version of this, then obviously not a problem. You're still there. Anyway, Robert goes on to say it is not. The rides, some of which are in fact better. Now, this has surprised me. Okay, now if you we'll just wait for a few things to click back into place. There we are. You're back with us now, aren't you? I know we're having a problem. I'm watching my transmission equipment at the side there, and I can see it keeps going off today. Don't know why that is. Something to do with the very inconvenient internet, which never seems to work, does it? Anyway, I'll start this again for you, okay? Robert writes, Dear Chris and friends of United Kingdom Talk, we have just returned from spending a few days in Paris and Disneyland Paris. Now, this is somewhere where I've been very lucky to go. I think 4 or 5 times I've been to the Paris one. I have to say I was surprised by the quality of the Disneyland rides, Paris, and was expecting a poor imitation of Disneyland in Orlando. It is not. Which actually contradicts what I've always said before. I find the Paris one a poor relation to the Orlando. But Robert in Iceland doesn't agree at all with this. He goes on to say, the rides, some of which are in fact better. Disney has learnt from its other parks and has made improvements for me. I thought it was better than Magic Kingdom, which I know Chris will not agree. No, I don't. And yet it is just the way when one deals with entertainment for what we expect or look for in different things. Yes, it's always funny, isn't it? You know, you can do some things like when I'm DJing, someone will like it and some people won't like it. I don't know whether it's the same for all performers. You know, a DJ is a performer to some extent, or karaoke host, you know. But I often, I don't know why it is, I often pick up on the bad vibes and not the good ones. You can have a room of 200 people. 199 of them are having a good time and they're dancing and joining in and all this business. And yet, one complaint can completely and totally ruin it for you. It really can. And I'm not quite understand why that. Why is it we pick up on the one negative person? It's like doing this show. Yeah, it's lovely to have emails coming in and people joining in and things like that. But occasionally, just occasionally, you get an email which is not so nice. Someone criticising everything you're doing or moaning. And that's the one that you kind of forget all the nice little messages that come across and all that. Well, I wonder why that is. Strange, isn't it? Robert goes on to say, with two young girls, because Robert's got two young daughters, the smaller park was better for us and the hotel was but a stone's throw away. Is the smaller park, is that... Oh, is it the MGM, the smaller... I think the smaller park is the MGM one. Yes, the hotels in whatever Disney you go to, whether it's Orlando or whatever, if you stay in the Disney hotels, they are always very close to the parks themselves, but a lot more expensive, unfortunately. The the hotels on site are expensive. We stayed at the Secular Lodge. Is it Secular Lodge? Which was good, with the rooms clean, if looking a little bit worn. Yeah. Now, when I went there, when I stayed there in Disneyland Paris, I always stayed at the same hotel, the Hotel Cheyenne. Or Cheyenne, isn't it? I always call it Cheyenne. It says, I think it's spelled Cheyenne. The Hotel Cheyenne, which is the one where it's done like in the cowboy type stuff, isn't it? Like a western. That's the hotel I always stay at there. And yes, I find the hotels, the Disney hotels, very clean, but they do look a bit worn. You know, I mean, it was a busy hotel, always people there, isn't it? The food was plentiful and breakfast was included. I might add that the breakfast was of a buffet style and could have been used as a main course. Yeah, you tend to get bits of ham, you get those little bits of square cheese, don't you, every morning in the Disneyland Paris. I know the exact... I used to love the breakfast there. I loved that breakfast there. Little bits of cheese and ham and a couple of bread rolls, glasses of orange juice and copious amounts of tea. We used to... The thing is that when I was going there, I used to eat as much as I possibly could in the hope that I wouldn't then have to buy lunch. But I always ended up buying lunch and having that as well. Perhaps that's what my weight problem is. Do you think? We opted for the dining option, which again was of a buffet style, and once again the food was overwhelming in choice. I was impressed. Now, I didn't actually know they did a lunch buffet. I didn't, do you know, I didn't know that. I knew they did the breakfast one, but the lunch, I thought, you know, I knew they did lunch, but was that, I wonder if was that included in the whole price? Or was it, or was it, was it an additional thing, like a pay-as-you-go type thing? I don't know. Robert says, the staff could not have treated us better. Of note, I rather liked the Buffalo Bill's dinner show, which was fantastic. Now, I've never been to that. Is that the one with the horses and all that running around? If one is looking for accuracy, then Disney is not for you. It is a fantasy world, and for a while, one can forget to be grown up and act like a silly person. Oh, well, I'm like that all the time, Robert. You don't have to go to Disney to be like that. 47 years old I am, and I'm quite happy the fact that I haven't grown up, only the lines on my face. One of my friends, who will remain nameless, was showing me on Tuesday night how they had had Botox. And they were going, can you see, look, my face doesn't, my lines have gone. And they were going like, they were squeezing their face, going up and down like that. And it's true, her face wasn't at all liney. It completely removed the lines from her face, this Botox. How much was it? £100 an eye, dear. £100 to have a bit of squirty stuff injected into your face. I mean, for God's sake. Is this stuff safe or not? I don't like the idea of it at all, I'm afraid. Now, I'm not going to tell you who it was. I'm not. By the way, did I give you the website address of that drag queen? It's www.tittylacamp. I'll spell it for you. Get your typing finger ready. Is it ready? Good. tittylacamp.com. Have a little look on there. And can you send her a little message on her? I don't know if she's got a guest book. Say, hello, just checked you out, was listening to United Kingdom Talk. So she knows that I've said it, because she's probably disappeared by now. TITTILACAMP.com. No, it's not a porn site. That is the name of the artist. tittylacamp.com. Once again, TITTILACAMP.com. tittylacamp.com. She's at a play at the moment as well. How do people learn words for plays? God, that must be hard. I'm not very good at... I have done a few types of plays and shows myself before, years ago. But I had terrible trouble. I was always forgetting the words. I do not retain that information in my very small head. Robert goes on to say, something which comes easy to me, I add, which is forgetting to be a grown-up. I'm sure it does, Robert, but as I say, I never grew up. I don't like to be grown up. It's boring. It's very boring. However, before going to Disney, we stayed with our dear friends Patrick and Petri and their dogs, Bookie and Oslo. Wouldn't be Norwegian by any chance, would they? With a name like that. Patrick came with us and went to Paris to show the girls the Mona Lisa. I mean, what is the problem with the Mona Lisa? What a miserable cow she is. I mean, she never smiles, does she? What is wrong with these people? Why doesn't she ever smile? Where are we now? Patrick came with us and we went to Paris to show the girls the Mona Lisa and one of two of my favourite paintings. Is that the original Mona Lisa? Can you actually... Oh, you know, that appeals to me, actually. That does appeal to me, actually, going to see something like that. I'm not a great fan of well, I am a fan of art. I mean, you know, the talent of some people, especially some of the young people. When you see the wonderful pictures that they're drawing at, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. And then you see these hideous monstrosities that have been created that councils pay thousands of pounds for and are sitting in the middle of blooming roundabouts everywhere. What's that all about? Someone's getting a backhander, dear, I'm telling you now. Well, where's one? There's one in particular that's really ugly. Oh, that thing in the middle of the roundabout at Elephant and Castle, it's just a silver box. Is that actually a piece of art, or is it doing something? I can't stand modern art. This crap that you see in the Tate Gallery, or as the Americans call it, the Tate Gallery. Awful load of rubbish. Modern art? Puh. Please. My cat can do better than that with her paws. Robert says, they are, I think, a tad... Talking about his daughters. They are, I think, a tad too young to appreciate the art. But it was Le Louvre. Did you notice the French accent then? Le Louvre. And if I could, I would spend the rest of my life walking its corridors. Content that this is where I belong. Yes, I'd like to do that, actually. This is obviously somewhere I'd like to go and visit. Because I am hoping at some point to go to Paris, certainly before the end of the year, because my friend Robert, who used to run the Belushi's in Hammersmith, then he ran the one in... borough, and now he runs the one in Paris. And I'd very much like to go and visit him before the end of the year's up. In the evening, we took a boat ride on the Seine, River Seine, and with perfect timing for on the hour, the Eiffel Tower lights up with a sparkling display. Wonderful. I'd like to see that as well. All in all, a fabulous trip, and of course, helped by going there and back in a Boeing 737, a plane I know pretty well. Yes, because Robert is a pilot. Oh, yes, we have all the best people watching this show, I'm telling you now. He is a pilot. Take you anywhere for a price. Thank you, Robert. Nice to hear from you, sir. A couple of Skypes coming in here. Sean says, are you saying you're a big kid? Absolutely. I am a big kid. Don't you worry about that. Mikey Holt says, I've had it with the Ustream adverts. I want to listen to you. Then they tell me to buy some biscuits. Well, I mean, I've seen what you look like, Mikey. It wouldn't hurt you to have a few packets of biscuits. You need to put on a bit of weight, boy. I'm getting very concerned. You seem to be losing weight by the minute. Thank you for keeping us informed, Wayne. Yeah, we got a little bit of a problem with the live programmes this morning. Good morning to Vicky, the lovely Vicky Gannon in the US of A, who writes, your garden is sounding lovely. Oh, it is. It's just beautiful. And do you know what, Vicky? I've got this garden, right? This year, I've barely laid out in it. I've gone around, done my gardening, cut the hedge, tended to my tomatoes, which have to be watered every day underneath. You mustn't water them from the top, because then you get blight. I learnt that one last year. When I've no sign of blight at all this year. Fingers crossed. Oh, and incidentally, I also have frogs in the garden, and I noticed quite a few hoverflies running around. Now, hoverflies, they look like very small wasps, but they don't sting, and they completely ignore you, and they might come and have a sniff, but then they go off again. Now, these eat greenfly, and do you know what? This year, I have not had to spray my plants at all with greenfly. And I'm putting that down to these little frogs that seem to be living in the damp area underneath the tomato plants. And also the hoverflies. They're obviously finishing off all the green flies. So that's really good news. I haven't used any insecticides at the first year ever. No insecticides at all. So I'm quite pleased with myself there. Vicky says, your garden sounds lovely. Yellow and black tomatoes. Well, yeah, not yellow and black. Some are yellow and some are black. Surely, if you type into Google black tomatoes, let's have a quick look. Black tomatoes. Yeah, black tomatoes. There you are. I've got pictures of one already. Hang on. I've got your Skype there, so I'll send that. See if you can see these, Vicky. Sending you a picture, I think, of black tomatoes, I hope. Okay. She says, yellow and black tomatoes. Are they heirloom tomatoes? Older breeds? I don't know. I just saw them in the garden centre, and the picture looks fun. I thought that looks a bit different. Let's give them a go, so I did. She says, those are popular here in the US, but down at the allotment, where... Oh, I used to have an allotment. I did, years ago. Oh, blooming hard work that was, though. It's, you know, it's not like you can step out your back door and start digging and doing stuff. You know, you've got to get in the car, and then you've got to go down to the allotment, put all your stuff together. Oh, it's a blooming old job that is, working allotment, so I gave it up in the end. It was quite cheap as well. I think I had a very large patch of ground, and that cost about £15 per year. So it's about $30, and that's for the whole year for the allotment. There's actually a queue of people waiting for allotments at the moment. We haven't got enough to go around. But they are hard. They are blooming hard work allotments. They really are. Whereas now, you know, I've got a small corner of the garden where I'm obviously not enough to keep me alive, but a small area of tomatoes. I've got some corn plants growing, and the corn is now starting to appear, incidentally. Yes, you know, the corn appears between the stalk and the leaf. I'm not professional, not at all. I'm just an amateur gardener, but I like to grow my own things. A lot of satisfaction, isn't there, from picking your own apple off a tree or something like that. Vicky says, those old breeds of tomatoes are popular in the US, but down at the allotment where I used to garden, the consensus was that they were a little more fragile than the newer hybrid varieties. I found them growing as well as all the others, so I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Can you get a few more sticks to further support the tomato plants? Yeah, I think I will have to do that, actually. I've got plenty of sticks in the shed there. Another question. Usually in August, the tomato plant leaves here dry out and turn yellow, which better exposes all the tomatoes to the light. Are your leaves still green? Yes. Unusually, very few of them have gone yellow this year. Usually, the bottom leaves on a tomato plant do start going yellow, don't they? And eventually they just drop off. I don't think that's happened at all this year. Maybe it's a bit early. Maybe we're a little bit early. Must go now. Many thanks for the garden update. What will you do with all the tomatoes when they ripen? Do you cook and freeze them? How do you prepare the yellow and black tomatoes? Do you have special recipes? No, I never thought of that, actually. I will eat most of the tomatoes as they come through, probably. I do one of these roast vegetable dinners, and I usually put 3 tomatoes in there. So, and ones that if I don't use some of them, I just give them away. You know, it's just a pleasure to actually see to actually grow something of your own. On the subject of negative comments from people, Vicky says, negative people can be accurate in their complaints. Like the saying goes, even a broken clock is right twice a day. I try to keep an open mind. However, I think that sometimes people are always negative because they have lousy personalities and it's the only way they can get any attention. I think you could be right there. Have a great day, and that's from Vicky. Nice to hear from you, Vicky, my love. Sean says, there's a list of 43 people waiting for an allotment where we live. Me and my brother have one, £18 a year. There you are, see, so I said it was around about 15. I've got green fingers, fishmongers have white fingers. What are you growing then, Sean? Are you actually growing anything in your allotment, or is it not doing anything at the moment? You must use it, you know. But it is hard work having an allotment. I will say that. Absolutely hard work having an allotment. Now, we got someone sent in a little MP3. Often people send in messages or emails or anything. Wayne, to be a bit different, has sent in a little MP3 for us to listen to. It's like a talking email. This is talking email. So let's have a little listen to what Wayne has got to say. All right, sent in I think on the 10th of August. Took a few days. Here.
Hi Chris, this is Wayne. I thought I'd say hi in an MP3 file for a change rather than just writing a long email, because sometimes it's nicer to hear straight from the horse's mouth, let's say. I thought I would just say hi, and I do have another story for you. You might remember a couple of days ago I mentioned about the diary and my mum being quite nosy, and I just thought, you know, don't be nosy, Mum, on the front, and it worked a treat. Well, there was one time where my mum got back on me, and I thought I would just report that story to you. Maybe that's something you could use next week. Basically, I think I was very young. I think I was around... I was getting to the age where I was then learning how to do maths, and I was learning all the different weights and measurements of different things. Well, one day, and this must have been I think it was either the late 70s or early 80s, and my mum gave me a £10 note, and she says, go and get me £10 of spuds, potatoes. So I travelled I walked a mile to go and get £10 of spuds. Now, when I got there, I see what you're thinking already. I know what you're thinking, and you'd be right, but I hear my story out here. I went to this fruit and veg store, and I saw this female assistant, and I said, look, I'd like £10 of spuds, please, or potatoes. And I might have said spuds at the time, I can't remember. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I must have said potatoes, because I had to mind my P's and Q's. She brought me up well. No, I didn't go for P's and Q's. I went for potato. Yeah. See, I got you confused there straight away, didn't I? I probably got you laughing out loud as well, but there you go. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah, potatoes. So I asked this assistant for £10 of potatoes, and she said, "Are you sure you want £10 worth of potatoes, not £10 of potatoes?" I said, "Well, my mum gave me a tenner," and you can imagine a really young lad. I think, as I said, I think I was either between 9 and 11 years old. I was still at middle school at the time, and I'm walking a mile home with these bags, and because I'm lifting these up with my arms, and I'm going, struggling along, and I think, right, I'll walk all the way to the bottom of this road, and I'll put them down, and then I'll have a rest, and then I'll get the next bit. And because I'd done this for a mile, and I must have stopped, I don't know, let's say in the region of 15 times on this route home. And because I thought, Mum will be so pleased that I've brought all them potatoes home. Anyway, I get back home, don't I? And my mum say, "Well, you bought me £10 of spuds. Where's my change?" I said, "Well, I spent a tenner. I gave you. You asked me to get £10 of spuds." She said, "Well, I don't want all them. You'll have to go back with what I don't want." And my face dropped. And luckily, there was a neighbour a few doors up that was sitting at the kitchen table, because you know what women are like, they talk a lot, don't they? Well, yeah, all right, I shouldn't generalise, but anyway, my mum was talking to a neighbour at the time, and luckily she had a car, so she gave me a lift all the way back to the fruit and veg shop, and the owner couldn't believe I walked all that way home. But anyway, the owner of the shop gave me the change for what would have been just £10 of spuds, and not £10 worth of spuds. So really I got away with that one quite lightly in the end. Well, I suppose I didn't get away with it lightly because, all that work on my arms, but some people just couldn't believe that I could carry that amount of weight for being such a young lad. But there you go, I was one of those lads that was stronger in upper body than lower body. I couldn't run very well, but boy, could I lift things and push things. So that's my story, Chris, for you today. I hope you enjoyed it, and who knows, maybe I could come up with some other things in future. But I thought you might appreciate me telling you that in voice, because that just gives an extra edge to what I'm saying, and hope you enjoy it. Take care, Chris, and I love the show when I get to listen to it, and I think you're a very good presenter, and take credit in that. That's a huge compliment. Okay, take care. Bye bye.
Well, that's a nice little thing there, isn't it? Little Wayne sending an MP3 there. Thank you, Wayne, in Norwich, home of Norwich, home of Anglia Television, boys and girls, which is sadly no longer around. Very good indeed, very good indeed, Wayne. I heard that you were saying there your upper body is stronger than your lower one. Well, I think I'm the other way round, to be honest, because I'm a cyclist. You get very strong legs if you start. Very, very strong legs. I'm touching them at the moment. You don't mind me touching my legs while I'm talking to you, I hope. I'm actually touching them at the moment. Thank you, Wayne. Nice to hear from you. All right. He was also saying something I entirely agree with you here, Wayne, that women talk a lot. Oh, don't they? Oh, don't they? You know, when I'm DJing or doing a karaoke somewhere, the lads will come up, "Excuse me, mate, can you do this?" Yeah, okay, no problem. All right, thanks. And they go off. The women, they're like that in your ear. Yeah, aren't they? Yeah. What's it all about, girls? Come on, girls, give it a rest. When I'm in the swimming pool, if I'm in the shower area, and you're in one cubicle, and in the cubicle next to you, you'll have two women. And they're, yeah, I can't shut up. My friend Ron's like that. My best friend Ronnie. You might have heard him on the show before. He has been in some previous shows. He talks and he won't shut up. And it does my brain in. Does it do your brain in? Does my brain in as well. Just coming up to 5 to 12 on a Thursday afternoon. It's the 12th of August. I'm with you till 12 o'clock, okay? Email address to the show. Once again, the email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. One more email to do today from Robert in Iceland, who continues to say, Chris, as part of my boring stories, they are not boring stories. No one here sends anything in that's boring. I'm telling you that now. Never think you're going to bore the life. Keep sending it in, because it is interesting. It's interesting to hear other people's points of view and other people's experiences through their lives. Chris, as part of my boring stories from Disneyland in Paris, I am minded towards a review of Buffalo Bill's dinner show. This is a dinner show. I thought it was horses running around and all this business. I actually went to a show once with horses running around and my asthma kicked off big time. Oh my God, I thought that was it. Good job I had my blue puffer thing with me. This is a dinner show with lots of whooping and waving around of complimentary cowboy hats. I've got a lovely cowboy hat sent to me from Susan, who lives in Dallas and went to a Dallas reunion. If you're a regular listener to the show, you would have heard us talk about, must be about a year ago now. And this hat she bought from South Fork Ranch. Fantastic. Diners find themselves grouped into diners find themselves grouped into one of 4 teams. The performers represent each of the hour teams, and each team having its own clown to whoop the diners into something short of madness. Well, that's like this programme, dear. Nothing short of madness, this programme. At one point, into the area comes a herd of long-horned cattle. Well, that would scare the life out of me to start with, dear. At exactly the time I was served with my spare ribs and beef. I am sure the poor cow or bullock knew I was eating his friend. Oh, isn't that awful? Can you just imagine that? Turning up at someone's dinner and seeing your mother there on the plate waiting to be eaten. Oh, it's awful. Or one of your children. You know, imagine if I invited you around here for dinner and there was your child chopped up into pieces on a plate. There you go. Well, it's the same thing, isn't it? They must know. Awful. A friend, Robert says, a friend that probably failed to live up to the standards of the show and hence made that long wagon trip to the kitchen. Ride 'em, cowboy. Indeed, the rest of the meal was actually pretty good. Sadly, though, I have to report that I have rather let the side down by leaping into the air in a fit of pure joy when one cowboy managed to rope a cow. He was from the other team, and I got the evil eye from my team. The evil eye. I asked for more beer, and at this time I did have an odd taste to it too. Do you think he might have known? Well, you know, sort of. What he might have done. I wouldn't be drinking stuff if I would never complain at a restaurant. You know, when I'm sorry, the food's cold. Oh, I take it away. You don't know what they do to that food if it gets taken away, do you? Eh? My friend Gwen, the one lady who recently passed away, used to say that to me. Never complain in a restaurant because you don't know what they do to the food afterwards. It's bad enough wondering what they do to it before, dear. He says, look, do I have to be graphic? No, you don't. Don't show me now, Robert. Please don't. All joking aside, the show was fantastic and the food was excellent. And that's from Robert in Iceland. Thank you for that, Robert. And it's time for me to go, boys and girls. As always, thanks very, very much for joining me today. The main website for this particular show, and you'll find all my other shows there in audio and the last couple of years in video as well. The main website for this show is unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. All right, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. There is also an email address. Please feel free to join in at any time if you've just listened or watched a recording of this show. Send us an email if you want any points at all or anything else that you want to say. Send it through the email address chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. And finally, later on today here on unitedkingdomradio.co.uk, it's a Thursday, and at 8 o'clock UK time tonight, you can hear Ross Patzel. Time for me to go. I'll see you again Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock UK time, if not next Tuesday and Thursday at 11 o'clock UK time in the morning. You have a good day now. Thanks for watching this. Bye-bye now.